And our first question comes from Jim Utter from the Charlotte Observer. Please state your question.
Hey, Matt. How you doing?
Hi, Jim. I'm doing good. How about you?
All right. I wasn't there at Talladega, but I listened to some of the post-race comments about that Jack had talked about your tenure wrapping up at Roush, and I wondered, as these lately, there don't seem to be as many drivers who have spent the majority or all of their career with one organization, and I'm sure during that time you get accustomed to how things operate within a team, and I know you've talked about the kind of exciting opportunity you have at going to Joe Gibbs Racing. I just wondered, is there any apprehension about you spent so many years in one organization which operated a certain way that there some unknowns ahead as you finish up this year and look towards next year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any apprehension at all, but there's certainly a small amount or some amount of anxiety. You know, I mean, everything's different from the building to all the people to, you know, the manufacturer to the sponsors, you know, just the crew chief, all this stuff is just different. So, I mean, there's a little bit of anxiety over that, you know, just because you're real comfortable for you know, for where I've been for so many years. And I'm not usually a guy that likes change. But on the other hand, it's also really, really exciting. I mean, I've been with one of the best organizations in the sport for 15 years, been driving there 10 or 12 years or 12, 13 years, whatever it's been. And we've had a pretty good amount of success there. But at the same time, I also get to go to another one of the winningest organizations in the sport and have two of the winningest drivers over there, you know, right now, and go to a car that's won championships and a lot of races. So it's also really exciting to go try something different, see how you know, see how things are done somewhere else, because obviously they have a lot of success as well. So you know, I am really excited about it. But yeah, there's a little bit of anxiety just because it's all going to be different.
As a quick follow-up, why do you think Roush Fenway Racing was such a successful place for you? As you pointed out, 12, 13 years. Nowadays, that's a really long stretch, and it's not like you're leaving because things aren't going well. Why do you think it's been such a successful fit for you? Thank you.
Well, you know, a lot of things. I mean, any sports team, you know, is about people, and that organization is about people. And there's been a lot of great people there, and I've had a lot of great advantages through my career, and probably the greatest advantage I've probably had throughout my career is Robbie Reiser. I mean, he, you know, started with him in the Nationwide Series, Busch Series then, over at Reiser Enterprises with him and his dad and his family owning that business, and Robbie's a great organizer, a hard worker. From the first time we raced together, I remember running that first Busch race together, and we were only in like our second practice session, and he totally bought into what I said and totally believed in me and worked with me. And you know, that was the start of a really great, long, you know, successful working relationship, and I think he's done a lot of great things over there. And at the same time, when Robbie and I went over there, they had a great organization, and Mark Martin and Jeff Burton were over there just winning tons of races and contending for championships. And those guys were a huge help to us as well.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And our next question comes from Randy Kovitz from Kansas City Star. Please state your question.
Two questions. One, I'd like to follow up on Jim's question. Matt, how do you keep your eyes trained on what you're doing with Roush Fenway and not kind of be peeking over at Gibbs? And how do you keep? Is maybe the chase the great thing? Because that's, you know, if you weren't in the chase, maybe it'd be easy to lose your concentration on what you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a couple things there. It's not really as hard as it would seem. I think if we were running terrible or we weren't getting along or you know, whatever, I think it would be harder. You know, but I mean, everybody's been, you know, good as gold to me over there. They always have been, and they still are right now, and they're giving us everything we need, you know, to go run good and try to win races, as this weekend was proof of that. So you know, we're working as hard as we can until the end of 2012. You know, a long time ago we renewed our agreement to the end of 2012, and It really says a lot about, I think, Roush Fenway's integrity, because they've really stuck to that agreement. They haven't not given me as good a stuff as everybody else. They haven't done anything any different. It's been business as usual. We've been working as hard as we can to go try to win races and try to stay in a hunt for a championship, and we've both been working at that. So it hasn't really there has really been no crossover. It really hasn't been that hard. We're just all in at Roush Fenway until until we're done with that.
One last second thing, you were one of the guys who tested the new surface and configuration at Kansas Speedway. Can you kind of talk a little bit about what you learned and what you saw? How did it feel, and what do you expect next week?
I'm not sure how much I learned. There's only a few of us there. I think the configuration's nice. They did a nice job with the track. They did a nice job with the repave. It's a really nice facility. So new pavement is always very challenging, not only for the people paving it, but for the teams and the guys that got to drive on it and all that. It's just challenging. It's challenging to get more than one groove and to make it where you can run side by side. It's just not very forgiving. So I'm looking forward to going back there. I know that the guys at Kansas Speedway have spent a lot of time and money and effort, on tire machines and dragging tires. And we got a 2-day test when we go there, and I really think by the time we race, it'll be pretty good. I think we'll put on a good race. I think it'll be really fast. Hopefully we'll be able to do some good side by side racing and see a lot of action there. So they did a nice job with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question comes from Bob Pockris from Sporting News. Please state your question.
Yeah, Matt, did you have any sense going into this year that you'd be good on restrictor plate races this year?
Nope. Not really. Restrictor plate races is excuse me, is one of those things that are really unpredictable. It probably hasn't been. I feel like through my career, it's been honestly one of my weak points. I never felt like I was very good at it. I felt like I would make not the right decisions even when we had really fast cars. And I felt like that this year a couple of times too, to be honest with you. I thought at the second Daytona and the first Talladega, both them races were mine to lose, and I lost them for my team. I thought they gave me the stuff we needed to win both of those races as well. So super thankful we were able to win this weekend and get to victory lane with those guys. But again, disappointed. I feel like I let them down those other two races. So I had no idea our plate stuff was going to run that good. Really until Daytona. After the 150s with this package, I feel like we learned a few things. I feel like I learned a few things, and the team did as well. And honestly, from the 150 all the way until we got done with the race last Sunday, we've been surprisingly good.
Did you ever have that feeling this year at all on a non-restrictor plate race? And if you haven't, has that surprised you?
That feeling that we're going to be good?
No, well, the feeling that it was yours to almost lose.
Oh, I'm sure I messed up something somewhere. I can't really think. I can't really think of where at this moment. But I think early in the year, especially, I think we've had a few races that if the chips would have fell our way, we could have won. Now since mid-season, except for probably that last Pocono, we were pretty good. Jimmy was a little bit better, but we were pretty good there. Other than that, I can't think of any races offhand, that we're really in position to win. But early in this season, I think there was a few races here and there. We're pretty good if everything would have went right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you do have a question or comment, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And our next question comes from Dwight Drum from Racetake.com. Please state your question.
Thank you. Hi, Matt. It's been a while, as you mentioned. It's been a while since you've been changed teams or been on came into Roush Racing. And have you observed other over those years? Because you've stayed in one place. Have you observed other drivers that they've changed teams? Do you think that you can draw on anything that you've watched that could help you with your change?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've seen. I think. I think right now, until the season's over, I think that I have the second longest active driver-owner relationship in the garage. I think. I'm pretty sure, right next to Jeff and Hendrick. So certainly I've seen a lot of people switch teams, throughout the years. So So I don't know. You know, the one that comes to mind the most would probably be Mark Martin, because he was in a different situation, because at the time he thought he wanted to retire, and obviously that wasn't true. You know, so that's a lot different situation than I'm in. But I have seen him go to a lot of different places and have a lot of success, which makes me feel good. So I guess if there was somebody you wanted advice from, that would be it. But I haven't really got that, to be honest with you. When I've talked to Joe and JD and went and saw some of their stuff and just spent some time with them, I just really felt like that was the right place for me. I felt really comfortable with everything. I feel really good about their stuff when you watch how good all their cars perform on the racetrack and how many races they win and all that kind of stuff. I just felt like you know, that was a place for me. So it really wasn't as hard, or I wasn't really probably as conflicted as one might think.
And it's kind of like as far as maybe has your win altered anything as far as getting a win now, getting ready to go on to a new team?
Well, it's made me feel a little bit better about certain things. I mean, it's really important for me to finish this thing off on a high note. You know, it would just break my heart if the thing was broken when I left. You know, so I certainly didn't want that. You know, and we had a really rough few weeks in the chase. You know, with you know, parts breaking and falling off and not getting good finishes and not running good, and everybody was getting close to being at each other's throats and things like that. So it's important for me to really try to keep that whole unit as, you know, as a cohesive, front-running, championship contending unit. So I'm hoping the next 6 weeks we can continue this momentum. I'm hoping we can get another win or two and finish as high as we can in the points, and you know, end this thing on a high note.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck with it all.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And our next question comes from Brett Winningham from theracingwheel.com. Please state your question.
Hey, Matt. Do you feel more pressure on yourself as a driver racing at Charlotte, since it's close to like the race shops and other families of the teams and such?
No, not really. I mean, I think at times it's funny because there's different kinds of pressure. You know, I mean, there's pressure for the point leader to continue being the point leader and stretch your point lead and try to win the championship. And then there's, you know, before the chase, there's pressure to get in the chase. There's, you know, there's all kinds of different pressures. There's pressures for the guys that are in the top 35 to make the race. So, you know, it's different everywhere. But when you go to a track you feel like is one of your best tracks, to me, I always feel like there's a lot of pressure to perform. You know, like I feel like Dover is one of our best tracks. So if we go there and run, you know, 15th because we can't keep up, that probably wears on me more than if you go to one of your tracks you don't feel you're very good at and you run 15th or something like that, you know. So I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, there's pressure to do better at the tracks you're not very good at, but the tracks you feel like are your best tracks as a company or even as a driver or whatever, I think there's always pressure to go out and get those results. And Charlotte's kind of one of those tracks for performance, but not necessarily because of where it's located. It's just it's been one of our better tracks in the past, so you always want to capitalize on that when you can.
And my next question is, with Kansas Speedway next week, how much differently are you going to go into that race than maybe previous years in the past, knowing that, you know, with the new surface and stuff?
Well, you start over. I mean, it's all your notes from the past you just throw away and start over. So you're probably gonna, you know, probably Michigan is probably what you're going to look at. You know, you run, I believe we're running the same tire we ran at the second Michigan race, and it's brand new pavement, which is similar. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that you're going to look at. Look at maybe some trends, you know, that you saw at Michigan throughout practice, qualifying, in the race, and how the track changed. And that's you're probably going to look at stuff like that. But as far as previous notes from Kansas, they're no good anymore.